In Chicago, a bold experiment is underway: the elimination of cash bail. The SAFE-T Act, effective since September 2023, means judges now decide pretrial detention based on risk, not wealth. No longer can someone be jailed simply because they can't afford bail. Supporters say the old system punished poverty, creating a two-tiered justice system. Now, prosecutors must prove a defendant is a real threat or flight risk to keep them in jail. If not, the accused is released, often with conditions like electronic monitoring. The goal: reserve jail for those truly dangerous, not those who are simply poor. Advocates argue this reform is a step toward fairness and equity, but critics worry it could threaten public safety. The city is divided, watching closely to see if this new approach will deliver justice or unintended consequences. The stakes for Chicago and the nation are high. Ending cash bail was about making justice fair, not for sale. In Cook County, thousands sat in jail simply because they couldn't pay, not because they were guilty. The system hit poor communities and people of color hardest, trapping them in cycles of poverty and incarceration. Two people, same charge, one pays bail and goes home, the other stays locked up, just because of money. Reformers saw this as the core injustice the SAFE-T Act had to fix. Pretrial jail time can cost jobs, homes, even custody of children before any conviction. Studies show those jailed pretrial are more likely to plead guilty, even if innocent, just to get out. Supporters say the new law forces the system to focus on risk, not wealth. The aim: keep communities stable and reduce the harm of unnecessary incarceration. For many, it's a crucial step toward a more just and effective system. Not everyone is celebrating Chicago's bail reform. Eugene Roy, a retired Chicago police chief, calls it dangerous, removing a key tool for public safety. He argues the new system lets repeat offenders out quickly, emboldening them to commit more crimes. Roy says cash bail, while imperfect, deterred some criminal behavior and protected communities. Now, he claims, suspects are back on the streets before police finish paperwork, frustrating officers. This, he warns, erodes morale and could make police less proactive. Critics believe the policy puts defendants' rights above community safety. They argue the pendulum has swung too far, risking public protection. For law enforcement, the change isn't just theory, it's a daily challenge. They fear Chicago's streets are less safe as a result. The impact of bail reform is seen in real cases, fueling heated debate. Critics point to stories like Deashun Dixon, released after the law changed, then arrested again for a violent attack. Or Kejuan Waters, out on release for a shooting, then accused of another shooting while awaiting trial. These cases, they argue, show the system failing to detain those who pose real danger. Even before the SAFE-T Act, similar incidents raised alarms, like Fabian Diaz, released on bail, later charged with homicide. For many, these aren't isolated events, but signs of a revolving door justice system. Such stories stoke fear and frustration in neighborhoods already struggling with crime. Supporters of reform say these are exceptions, not the rule. But for residents, each case is a reminder of what's at stake. The debate is no longer abstract, it's personal and urgent. Chicago stands divided. Reformers see bail reform as a victory for fairness, critics as a threat to safety. Supporters argue the old system punished the poor and destabilized lives, while the new law keeps communities stronger. Opponents point to violent reoffenses and say the law emboldens criminals and demoralizes police. Both sides agree. The stakes are enormous and the nation is watching. Chicago is now a test case for bail reform across America. Will eliminating cash bail make cities safer and more just, or will it backfire? The answer isn't clear yet, and emotions run high on both sides. Residents, police, and policymakers are all waiting for results. At the heart of the debate, balancing the presumption of innocence with the right to public safety. Chicago's experiment could shape the future of justice nationwide.